The McLarens decimated the field, went toe-to-toe with one another during the race, and it almost ended in disaster. Bortoleto shined and brought it home his first points, and Williams have hit rock bottom. That was what the Austrian Grand Prix was about, and that's what we'll be reviewing today. Welcome to the Valve Bounce. It's great to be back, Damo. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, mate. How are you? What an epic Austrian. I did cut you off. I was just so excited. We got a battle. How are you, mate?
I'm great. And that race was epic. That was just awesome. I don't know why anyone, and I have seen it, said it was boring. That's not a boring race.
Who are they? And yeah, you deserve everything you get on social media if you're writing that stuff. That is ridiculous. I was a little concerned when I started doing the numbers on the fact that I was so happy to hear they renewed the Austrian Grand Prix for another, I think it was 18 years. And then I worked out how old I'd be in 18 years. And then I had a heart attack. Still here, still fine. But at least we know that race and that circuit's on the cards for a long time, which is awesome.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. It's a great circuit. It's one that needs to stay on the books, just like Imola and Monaco. So we are happy for that to stick around.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, mate.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. No, what a race, mate. Let's have a quick run back through it where we had Oscar starting from third, which wasn't ideal after young Gasly spun in front of him in quali. What was your take on that quali session? Do you think Oscar could have taken it to Lando, or do you think he had a little bit more in the bag?
I think Oscar definitely had more pace. He always does build, and he does always give his last little hurrah. So I definitely think he would have gone faster. So probably the front row. I think that's what he said as well. But I couldn't see. Lando just was too far ahead. And I think that was possibly one of the biggest margins that the pole was all season. So I don't think it was ever going to get to Lando. He was just on song, Lando Norris.
He was on song, and we'll discuss that further later on down the track. But I think it was interesting. I definitely think Piastri had a lot more pace in the bag, and I think it would have been sort of more around that 0.1 of a second because that's where it sort of sat for a while. But, here we are. But during the race, mate, race start, Oscar gets the start that we were all hoping for because he comes out second out of the first turn.
Yep.
And they all run to the hill, and it all gets exciting for a little bit until a few little misdemeanors, mate. So maybe
I had flashbacks.
we should. You had flashbacks?
Yeah, I did. I've seen it before. I've seen cars do that. There's been Bottas's, there's been Rosberg's, there's been Kvyat. We've seen it before.
Did you see the F2 race? That was insane.
Rollover. Yeah. And I was, of course, the safety is always important, but it didn't take him long, the Sky News, to have a look how great the halo is. It's a fantastic thing. It's like, okay, we're all sold on it. We all know, okay? The hate from when it originally came in is all gone. We know it has to be there. Chill out. Don't have to tell us. We're sold.
They can't chill out, just like this week. They can't chill out because, their boys back in the mix.
Lando. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I know. There's a meme from South Park, I think, that most people could pick up, and then that's what it feels like, doesn't it?
Speaking of memes, with that F2 on the top, the first thing that I thought about was the old Top Gun, when he does the inverted on the MiG, and he's like, I'm taking a photo.
It's like, how'd you do that? Well, we were inverted. The bird.
Oh, sorry. I hate it when it does that.
Classic,
we might be showing our age there, Damo.
Yes, indeed.
Well, let's get into it. We're going to cover a new segment, Damien. And we are going to call it our 6. I didn't even do this very well. The Valve Bounce 6 key talking points from the Austrian Grand Prix. I got there in the end.
Did you say the Valve Bounce 6 key talking points?
The valve bound 6 key talking points.
You got there in the end. There you go. We can use any of those.
I'll chop it up so we don't have to listen to that again. All right. So
perfect.
Moving into the 6 key talking points, what this segment's going to be about is Damo's going to bring 3 as I smack the mic. I'm going to bring 3 key talking points myself. We're going to each talk individually, and then we can have a discussion at the end of each one. So, Damien, on that base, what is your first key talking point?
Well, I wanted to talk about how it was an epic battle between the McLarens, but there was certainly some cracks appearing on the Piastri side. We know Norris has had his cracks appearing, but none of them were making major mistakes. But there were a few mistakes, like a few lockups here, Oscar's was a bigger lockup, of course. And, the team right royally told him, just that. I think that was a bit too much, son. And I think he knew it or as well. But, just Oscar was making a few mistakes. And then Lando sort of made a few mistakes, went wide like a few times. And we finally got the battle that we've been waiting for. And I think the outcome was that Norris is very good at that track, and I think he was very lucky that everything was working for him because Oscar threw everything at him.
Absolutely. I agree with all of those sentiments. Oscar gave it everything. He was clearly frustrated throughout the weekend. I think that started in qualifying, as we sort of discussed. Depending on which take I go with, you might see it in the title as well, his frustration. But no, I thought you're right. There are cracks appearing on both ends. There's cracks from Oscar's side, just in the I need to get to the front. I think he really felt like that weekend, if he eclipsed Lando, it might just be enough to weed him off. So the desperation was definitely there. But on the other side of that, Damien, is also that Lando ran off the road, which gave Oscar a really good opportunity. So he's not without faults, young Lando. Correct. He still makes those little small mistakes. And if Oscar had just played it a little smarter and not, tried to cover fresh air into turn 2, maybe he would have held that position.
Yeah, he would have. And he also, when he did take him on that second turn, if he just slowed him up a little bit and not let him undercut, I think he possibly could have made it. And I'm sure, as we've seen always with Oscar, he learns very quickly. And he learned quickly when he's battling with Max, and he'll do the same. He'll remember this, and I'm looking forward to the next few races. So we'll see how that battle keeps going. But definitely the championship is on. So
it's on, and it's going to heat up. It's spicing up, and that just to cover the actual racing between the two. Yes, all right. Oscar had a little lock up, but I think the racing was pretty fair between both of them. And it was hard fought, definitely. And congratulations for Lando. That's a small win in the battle stakes. So we'll go to Silverstone, where I'm sure he will really want to win. But yes, we will move on from that. Anyway, let's go to my first key talking point, Damo. And mine is the rise of Stake F1. This is the third race in a row where they have scored points, but the first time that both cars were in the points was Austria. I think this is, yes, absolutely, give them applause. I cannot tell you how proud I am of this team, because we said at the start of this year that we needed to see some development work happening, and they needed to make strides, and I think they have made that stride. We've had 3 different tracks, 3 successful outings. All right, Hulk has primarily taken most of that, but Bortoletto on the weekend was massively quick, and well done, team, because it just looks like they're starting to hit their straps and understand these cars a little bit more, and it just gives me a little bit of hope heading into next year that Audi can enter this not being at the back of the field, but at least be fighting mid.
I couldn't agree more. What a great race for Stake, for Bortoletto, and of course a Hulk coming from such a far, like the hillsides at the back. He was last, and and managed to come back through for points. It's what's actually really exciting is we're finally seeing that progress, as you say, but some of those key positions that have been starting to be filled over the past few months, we're starting to make some change. They're making the advancement. It is a great time for Audi to be sort of looking like they've started to progress and can be in a position where they're kind of happy to put their circles on the front of a car. But next thing I'd like to chat about is the torpedo. So Kimi Antonelli, really just had his first rookie moment, and it really was just a rookie moment where he just made a bit of a mistake. Didn't quite own up to it in the right way, I think, as well. But I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on that one, Steve. But I think for me, what I thought was more important is that he obviously killed Max's race. Kind of, I guess, if you want to extrapolate this out a little bit, the championship hopes. I mean, that really puts a massive dent in his championship hopes. And then what if this causes a trigger in a Max Verstappen contract clause? What do you reckon?
Are you saying that, the reason he was happy to get out of the car and give Antonelli a hug and say it's A-OK is because it gets him out of Red Bull?
No.
For everyone who's listening on audio, Damien was nodding yes.
Yeah. I had to think about it too to make sure I got it right. Two things at once in my old age.
Imagine
that.
That would be a big thing. That would be a big thing. But my biggest question to you from that is, are we renaming Kimi to Kimi the Torpedo Antonelli from now on?
I don't think he's quite taken the trophy off Kvyat. I think he's okay at the moment, and it was just a mistake. And yeah, he kind of said, I didn't brake too late. I just locked the rears. And I'm like,
you broke too late, mate.
I think it's kind of accepting responsibility without trying to accept it too much. Because man, you're always going to lock up when you break that late. It just was never going to not end in tears when you break at that point. So yeah,
the unfortunate part for Kimi is that it's just a case of cold tires, cold brain, young kid.
He just definitely he needed to take that accountability a little bit more, because he definitely broke too late. He definitely locked up, and he just saw this wide open real estate, and he just went, "Oh yeah, I can do this," and then bye Max.
Yep. Couldn't agree more, Damo. That is exactly what happened. And unfortunate, as I said, for the young kid, but I'm sure he'll recover from this. He will rebuild.
He will rebuild. Yeah. All right. What's your next talking point?
My second talking point from the Austrian Grand Prix is Williams. And the fact that they have fallen from grace after a great start to the year to the last 3 events, Damien. Albon has failed to finish every single one. And the only time they have scored a single championship point was in Canada with Sainz.
Yeah.
What is going on at Williams? When we saw Sainz stuck on the grid, I thought, wow, this is not good again. And then when he drove around to only have the car turn into a fireball from its brakes, seemingly being stuck on for the entire lap. I don't know what your feeling is on this. I need to know what's happening here, because they were the team that were on the up. They were flying. I think they're still 5th in the constructors, and they had a handy margin, but that shit's getting eaten away real quick.
Yeah, it is one of those things that it's hard to kind of explain, but I think it's been a little not under the radar because everybody's noticing it, but there was no, I didn't feel like there was any articles or newsletter, anything coming out that was really saying what is going on, because they have really fallen from grace. They had such a good run for just prior to this little issue. And then since, basically, I mean, they were pretty lucky to get home where they did in Canada. Not too lucky, but they didn't exactly set the world on fire, but they certainly set Sainz's brakes on fire. And then apparently the issue that was for Albon's car was something different. So it's not like it was a common issue or someone designed something that went pear-shaped. So yeah, there's a lot of questions that need to be asked.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird, like to go from that start, and Sainz in Australia had that momentary stuff up, blah blah blah, but to have that start and then we get to Spain. Now the only thing that changed in Spain was that the wings needed to be more solid, so that shouldn't be doing anything to the car. Why are they suddenly having these DNFs? And geez, they'll want to turn that around relatively quickly, because the leads that they had in terms of fifth in the constructors is diminishing pretty rapidly. And I mean, it won't take long for State to really make a run at it, really, if they keep double scoring like they did on the weekend.
Right. My third talking point. We've had torpedoes. What about mobile chicanes? Colapinto. What the hell were you thinking, buddy? It was just like totally oblivious to anyone around him. Thought, I'll let the leader through, and then I think, I might just push myself back towards the grass for some reason. And it's like, man, did you even have a look in the mirrors? Like, come on. And then we have this will be one of the all-time classic quotes from Oscar Piastri. And then just kind of out of the blue, Oscar goes, Alpine still manages to find a way to fuck me over. And it's like, Oscar Piastri, where did that come from?
His mother will be devastated.
Absolutely. But it was perfect. Like it as always with his kind of meme and jokes and stuff, it was on song. Perfect. But yeah, it did come a little bit out of left field.
Mate, he was on point on the radio. I've not heard him swear at all once in his entire career, and he was 2 from 2 for the weekend. So absolutely hammering. But you're right about Colapinto. I don't know what he was doing. He really had a moment, real brain fade. He wasn't even really battling with Yuki. I think Yuki was a lap down on him. It was just so silly. And when I saw it, mate, I was pissed. But you can't do anything. Thankfully, Oscar's smart enough to avoid and not crash. So that's the main takeaway from this. But you got to say now, if we stick on the Colapinto frame for just a second, the decision to put him in the car was the wrong choice to make. And Doohan would have had much better results, and Alpine would probably have a couple more points at this stage of the year.
Yeah, I agree totally. And then it does sound like that they're continuing with Colapinto. There were some rumors that perhaps Bottas might be brought in, etc. But I mean, it's like, whoever's making those decisions, you can't run and hide from the fact that it's just all about cash now. Because he is not. He's been moderate at best, and that's basically where Jack was up to. And we're not seeing anything special. So, anyway.
I mean, at least Jack was qualifying in the 10 or on the cusp of the 10 most of the time. Like, Colapinto has been squarely at the back or maybe 15th at best. So, I can't see that as a results-driven thing. It's a failure. So, you're right. It has to be money-based if that's not results. So,
it does.
Anywho, my third key talking point, and it's the final key talking point of the day. Okay. And I wanted to end on something positive, Damien.
Ooh,
and that is of our friend across the ditch, Liam Lawson. I wanted to congratulate Liam on a weekend. Well done, because not only were you the fastest racing bull, you are also the fastest Red Bull car. And he brought home points. He pretty much demoralized Hadjar this weekend, to be quite frank. Hadjar didn't seem to have the pace at all. And it was a complete weekend from him, and it's what we wanted him to go and do when he went relegated back. And yeah, I'm so excited for him. Really happy for him. So well done, Liam. Yeah. Congratulations, mate. Keep it moving forward into Silverstone. I don't know if you have anything further to add than that, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to say, well done, cuz. That was the weekend he needed, and he out-qualified as well, not just performed. So he had a cracking weekend. Just whatever balance or the track just seemed to work for him. Maybe he's had success there. I was thinking about checking his his progression through the lower ranking series as to whether or not that would be the case. But it's just one of those things that he delivered when he really needed to, and it was a stellar weekend for him.
All right, and that concludes our 6 talking points, Damo. Thank you very much for everyone who has tuned in to watch the video and listen to us ramble about the Austrian Grand Prix. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, click the bell icon, and tune in to us every week on generally... Oh, hang on, Damo's got a finger going...
On the socials,
on the Valve boards, yeah.
I do have to check on the monitor.
That's true. That's it's just there. So at the Valve Bounce on X, on Facebook, on Instagram. Tune into us, talk to us, because we get lonely. Thank you very much, and we will next discuss the preview of the Silverstone Grand Prix.
Silverstone, get ready for British bias.
Bye. Bye.